What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay, Emilio in Tennessee, Jacob in Wisconsin. How we doing tonight, gents?
Bueno.
There you go. All right, man. I always love the
little tired. I guess we're a little tired, huh? Fellas? Long day.
Exactly. So obviously we're live here on YouTube. We're live on X. We're live on Rumble. And we're going to talk a little Packers with you guys and gals this evening. It's good to be back in here. Obviously on this, June the 5th, closing in on training camp, a little over a month away. I think everybody's starting to pop it up now. We're roughly, 92, 93 days away from Packers football. So by the time you all hear this on the podcast, you'll be within the 92-day range. So it's going to be exciting, man. We get some Packer football on the horizon, college football around the corner too. So really fired up for everything. What we're going to do this evening is we're going to cover a couple topics here on YouTube, and then we're going to hop over to Rumble. We're just going to keep the stream up. So if you're on Rumble, you don't have to worry about hopping over. But if you're on YouTube, make sure that you hop over to YouTube for Packer Fan Total Access. And we're going to be breaking down, I think it was my favorite game of the year, and that was Green Bay at Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. To me, this was the game that was like, hold up a minute. These guys just hit the stride. So we're going to be knocking all that out this evening. Before we do, let's give a shout out to our sponsors tonight, and that's the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access, Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packers tickets. They are Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau Field and in Milwaukee. You can click on the link in the video description that'll send you to theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Got an awesome interface over there, real easy to use, even for an old dumb redneck like me. No problem locating which game I'm interested in and seeing the prices, seeing the seating chart, all that good stuff. So again, that is Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access, theticketking.com. We appreciate them sponsoring the show this evening. So Emilio, you were telling us in the chat earlier, you were listening to Move the Sticks, and they got the talking about the Packers a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, just a quick mention. I was going to say it's hard, man. It seems like all the national ones, you listen to an hour, 2 hours of podcast, you get like 3-minute segment on the Packers if you're lucky. This one was not even 30 seconds after he, was kind of talking a little bit. Basically, was just sort of saying they were bringing up the Mavericks and Celtics in the finals, and they were just kind of saying versus the Mavericks, 2 stars, Kyrie and Doncic, and then the Celtics more of like a building team. And they were saying that the Packers was, that to come sort of team. So all this is to come. They got multiple different receivers each week that they can choose. They said Jordan Love, and he said having Josh Jacobs back there, the 2 stars to build around on the offense. Man, we talked about it last night with the receivers. We even forget that, Josh is there ready to roll and being an elite back already. So I'm pretty excited about this year. And I like that, you can compare it to NBA, but then also bring it back to it's all still team building. It's still personalities. There's just, double the amount of people on the field.
Absolutely, man. Any kind of, success principle book when it's revolving around sports, it's really interchangeable. It really is. And you guys know I'm not a big basketball fan at all. I got ruined on the 90s. I grew up watching basketball in the 90s, and I cannot watch this trash today. I just can't do it, man. It's Tim knows what I'm talking about. Jacob probably does too. This is not your grandpappy's basketball. This is guys sliding around the court and acting like they've been shot and rolling around, and it's just absolutely wild. But anyway, like there's all kinds of books. Like I think it was John Wooden wrote a book that was just most business owners actually refer to their employees to read some of those books. Obviously, he was a great college basketball coach. I hope I'm not getting that name wrong. But there's a lot of those books, including Bill Walsh's The Winning Edge. And then there's a couple other, books that some guys helped write with Bill Walsh right before he passed away that are just phenomenal, man. They really are. So, but, yeah, with that being said, that stuff, like I said, it's universal, man. Success is universal, no doubt about it. Jacob, you wanted to hit on some of the free agency too here before we hop off YouTube, right? You want to kind of dive into some of the Packers free agents, and I'm glad that you brung this up too, because this is the time of the year where Goody is going to these guys for a potential contract extension. Now, he may be a little tied up at the moment with the Jordan Love contract, but I guarantee you, if there's someone on here like an Eric Stokes or some of these other guys, which we'll pop the list up here right now, that he may be interested in re-signing, you're in contract talks with them right now. You want to get this knocked out before the season starts, right? So you want to see this list. You want me to just rattle through them here, or is there anybody that kind of piqued your interest right off the bat when you brought up this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just when you look at this list here, there's maybe only, I would say, 2 or 3, maybe 4 guys that you really know, or at least assume that the Packers are going to be in talks with. Kenny Clark, Jordan Love, obviously. Stokes is a maybe. I would say Ballantyne should be in that conversation. And then a lot of them is kind of up in the air. I think a lot of it depends on how they play this year. That'd be guys like Dylan. I hate to say it, but guys like Myers, even Eric Wilson, Greg Joseph. We have no idea what's going to go on there. Dillard, Davis, all those kind of. And then you got the guys that are probably just 1 year kind of gap fillers. You look, TJ Slayton's on that list a little farther down. That's definitely one guy that's playing for his career in Green Bay. Caleb Jones there. I think Royce Newman's all but gone. And then Emmanuel Wilson. That's another one too that maybe could be sneaky.
Yeah, what's interesting too about like Caleb Jones, you mentioned, he's a restricted free agent, so they can slap one of those tenders on him and potentially get a draft pick if indeed someone wants to sign him and they deem him as that valuable. Think Yosh Nijman, right? I think we put a second round tender on him that was worth about $4.5 million roughly. Now, I think that proved to be a bad idea, but with Caleb, maybe you could tack on a third or a fourth round tender and try to secure him if you like, how far he's come. I'm not necessarily saying that's what they'll do, because me personally, Caleb Jones hasn't impressed me other than he's a mountain of a man. I mean, that dude is just absolutely massive. Of course, he hasn't had very many opportunities either. Now, when you talked about Emmanuel Wilson, he is a exclusive rights free agent. So if the Packers want him back, he'll be back, and I think he will be back most likely. Daniel Whelan, the same type of thing. Maybe the same thing with Jonathan Ford. Zion Gilbert, not necessarily. Aaron Mosby. Alex Magoo, who's a wide receiver now. Isaiah McDuffie is a unrestricted free agent, so he'll probably test the market a touch unless they like him on special teams. So you got quite a few other names here that are down towards the bottom of the list. There's our boy Grant Dubose, who is a exclusive rights free agent as well. Bo Melton too. So that's really promising. I mean, you can get all of these guys back essentially. Is if the Packers want them back, they'll have them back. They pretty much have their rights. So Bo Melton, Grant Dubose, Benny Sapp. I see those guys definitely returning. Maybe even Henry Pearson, depending on what he shows and how much they want to use the H back this year. Tim, when you look at this list here, man, what's it? What kind of sparks to you here, man?
I mean, it's a pretty big list there. I mean, even getting down to the bottom there. It's like Jacob said, man. I mean, there's a few on here that it's like, oh, okay, we're probably gonna work out a deal and sign these guys. There's a lot of guys that are up in the air, like a lot, and good problem to have, I think, because there's some talent, even at the bottom of this roster. So, it's good that we do have a couple exclusive rights free agents rather than just all unrestricted guys. But, there's also a lot of names on this list where I'm kind of looking and going, might not make it out of training camp this year kind of guys. So some of this list may whittle itself down, I think, in the next few months, at least for a handful of these guys. But, the important thing is to get the big names done, starting with Jordan Love, obviously, and, Kenny Clark. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And, the one that they have the market value listed for is Jordan Love. Obviously, they don't have the others. Now, it does talk about the previous average annual, per Kenny Clark, 17.5. We know his cap hit is much higher than that this year, and we know why. Obviously, Jordan Love's 13.5, but when you click on the market value for Love, they've got him at 47.9 per. And of course, we have talked about that quite a bit. They're saying base calculated value of 5 years, 264 million. But when you come out to the calculated market value in comparison to Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, they're coming up with 4 years, 191.5 million for that average of 47.8. Now, the guaranteed money is going to determine how accurate that actually is, obviously. So, if it was up to me and you kind of look at this and McKinney's age, I would let him test free agency, me personally. And it all depends on how he plays this year, but he's going to be 30 years old at the end of the year. Not many defensive linemen kind of hold it together once you crack the age of 30. So, going to be interesting to see what he can kind of put together in this.
We know how Goody DiCaprio feels about the 30 and older crowd.
Goody DiCaprio. Photoshop waiting to happen right there.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. All right, cool. Anything else you want to hit on this, Jacob, before we move on to breaking down the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving Day game, man?
No, that's fine.
Gotcha.
Did we get Jordan his turkey yet? You still waiting on that?
We're still waiting on that, Tim. It's a national tragedy too, man. It's just unbelievable that we can't get him that turkey leg. But again, those free agents at the top of the list here: Kenny Clark, Jordan Love, Eric Stokes, AJ Dillon, Corey Ballantyne, Josh Myers, Eric Wilson. What you said about Josh Myers too, Jacob, for the right price, I'm cool with it. But paying him top 5 center money, not me, man. And I'm pretty sure you agree. Eric Wilson, love to get him back somehow, some way.
Yep.
See what Greg Joseph does. But all signs out of OTA, and granted it's just OTAs, are Anders Carlson is absolutely boat racing the other 2 kickers in camp. So that's what we want to hear, obviously.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get ready to break down the Thanksgiving Day matchup versus the Lions. So everyone on YouTube, again, we would love to show this on YouTube, but they keep triggering copyright stuff and they won't tell us exactly what's triggering it. So that's why there's no intro video on YouTube. We're trying to play it safe. So if you guys just hop over to Rumble, Packer Fan Total Access, or just type in Packers Total Access on Rumble, we're going to stay live over there. So we'll see y'all there. Y'all take care.
YouTube sucks.
What's that?
Nothing.